Okay, I'd like to call to order the April 19, 2017 meeting of the Township of Lopatcong Township Council. This is a special budget workshop meeting. We'd like to go to the prayer. Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the express times, and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Beth, may we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Belcaro?
Here.
Councilman Polito?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
Here.
Council President Pryor?
Here. Here. Today we have only one item of business, the 2017 budget. Our CFO, Mr. Barnard Ray, will make a presentation in a moment. Mr. Ray. Oh, we didn't do, oh yeah, we did. Come on.
What you have before you is updated numbers. I think over the weekend we had sent out on Friday night some penciled in numbers. John was on the run when he did it for me, and I had changes to make. And some of the changes in the detailed computer sheets didn't come over exactly right. So, and I think I informed you the night of the meeting, which they were. There was one instance where the temporary person that we have in the pool didn't come over. And I told you that night. So these numbers are the numbers that we want to go with. Broken down, gives you and I, we're within a cap. We have the two caps. We have the tax levy cap and the expenditure cap. In both instances, we're under cap. One of the things I didn't talk to you about in the last meeting is what you've done here over several years is there'll be a cap index ordinance to do along with the meeting. Allows us to spend up to 3.5% of the last year's budget numbers. It's like an insurance policy. Not that we're going to do that, but it's a policy in case something happens down the road that I can't predict. It will help us in the future. What, we have 2 years to use that particular? So 2 years down the road, it's like an insurance policy. Something comes about that we can't handle, gives us a little bit more cap space. So all it is insurance. It doesn't say we're going to spend it. It just puts it on a side in like a reserve in case we do need it. So that's one. You've seen it before if you've been on council before. Jim, I think you're new this year, right? So it's all part. I have to do that before we introduce?
That's correct.
Okay. So in that instance, even though we're within the cap, we should do it just to preserve our rights in the future.
Ernie, if I can interrupt you for a minute, usually I don't hear anything. Beth, I'm hearing
I know something's wrong with it. We called Gramco because a lot of times when you're speaking into these microphones, it becomes garbled, so we're definitely not experiencing another issue with it.
All right, if that's it, I guess I can...
I did lower the volume.
Yeah, I think maybe if we don't hear the feedback...
I lowered it all the way down.
Okay. Let's hope it's recording.
Well, the bars are acting on.
Okay.
What we're going to do tonight is basically go over the revised numbers that you basically saw on Good Friday night. The overall tax rate, again, having John take a look at it too. I let somebody else that's in the business, he's done several this year. This is my only one I'm doing. So I want to make sure on that. Gives you a comparison from last year to this year. So far, what we've got before you, it represents, I'd say, it's a 1 penny, a penny and a third increase right now is what we have before you. on the current fund.
Now, that would represent on your theoretical $231,000 house, Cess Valley house, a $30 increase on the local tax.
Correct.
For a little history, you haven't been around, Bernie. I think in 2015, it was an even 2 cents. Last year it was 2 and change. This year it's less than 2, so we seem to be hovering around that 2 cent mark.
Right.
What I'd like to discuss tonight is possibility of putting a little bit more money aside in our capital improvement fund.
Yes.
Right now I have it set at 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer to go up a little bit more and actually bring that 1.3 up to close to the 2%, 2 cents increase, keeping consistent with last year. What does it do? Puts money into, it allows us to do a project that we need, a small project during the year that we don't have. We're down, our capital improvement fund in our general capital is down. I didn't bring my financial statement. Are we down to like 14 or 16,000?
At the end of the year, your capital improvement fund is 16,000.
Yeah.
So
we're down. We started off the year at how much? Sorry. I thought it was 56 or 60,000, something like
your
that.
vicinity, yes, yeah.
It's just, again, I'm trying to.
68,000 to start the year.
So we're down in that particular category. Again, if we can do it. This is your budget. I realize that. I can make suggestions to you to be conservative, but again, you make the ultimate. You have the answer to the taxpayer.
You want to do this, Bernie? Were you going to go through it and entertain questions as we go along? Or?
That's what I was going to do.
All right.
The first few pages, or the summary again that you had before you, but with the updated numbers, and there's two numbers, actually a couple numbers one number that I changed, revenue-wise, and one number I changed appropriation-wise, and that has to do with the shared service that we have with Phillipsburg High School. It's an interlocal. If you're talking to John, they reimburse us for one full-time officer and one part-time. So we have 2 part-times working on that particular project. So we're allowed to anticipate that revenue with the offsetting appropriation, and it's outside the cap. And it was $85,198 would be that reimbursement. So I put that in.
So you can reduce total appropriations by that number.
Well,
To stay within the cap, stay within the cap.
Basically, the other day, and I think I told you about it, that there's grants out there that net out no effect on our tax rate, and that's the case here. So I have it in there. It's on. That's why you'll see we're up in revenues and we're up in appropriations again, but the same net taxes to be raised.
Yes.
What I'd like to address is a couple things that came up since. I did talk to the fire sub-code official, and as I told you, I had budgeted for 30 hours per pay period. He currently just started working 40 hours per pay period. It's 10 hours more. And he kind of justified it that between the apartments that are going in, plus his fire prevention needs, he's got to go out and visit so many establishments per year, according to the state. We do get money back on that, but it takes time to get it back. We don't get it back first year, but I asked him to put an estimate together of how much additional revenues would that generate by catching up. He estimated between $3,000 and $4,000 more a year on catching it all up.
When you say we're getting it back, coming back from the
State of New Jersey.
and how much do we get back?
Again, I just did it on the projected amount. I don't know how much we get back each. I could go look it up real quick if you wanted, but I mean, his estimate was be another $3,000 to $4,000 worth of revenue to us.
That we get back.
Correct, and some of it is going to be more work. Berry Plastics, I guess, has a bigger warehouse,
Right.
new.
Right.
That's going to take him more time than it was before. The high school, he's got a lot of fire issues to deal with there, and we can only get $160 back. He's going to spend a lot more than $160 worth of time out there. There's a lot to be done at this.
We have
high
more
school.
rental units coming online and they get those kind of inspections, right? Rental units, apartment units.
We will get some for that.
Yeah.
You know, he made an estimate as each year goes by because it's not going to be built out.
And I know we'll get something, but he also has to do it.
Correct, has to do it. So,
Also,
that's out there.
Also, the addition of the coordinated help.
Yeah.
Expanding.
That'll be, there's two others he mentioned, but I don't know exactly if that has to do with what's going on out there now or not. There was one, he said there was 4 projects that will get more money. 2 are completed and we should get right away. 2, it's going to take a little bit of time. But, and there's additional ones coming online a year from now and 2 years from now.
How much more annually would this, additional hours come to, approximately?
I have to look that up. Bear with me. I might have left that back. If we get a little bit of a break, I'll go back and get that for you. I don't have that packet I had the other day. Yeah?
The ballpark? Like 250 more hours a year.
It would be 260 more hours a year at his hourly rate. That's why I'm trying to see what his hourly rate is, and it would be in here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like $750, $800
correct.
per year. And we could get up
We should get
2,000 or 3,000 more a year. And, well, that's a no-brainer.
So you're looking to increase his hours, right, to 40?
He started working. He just started.
How many will do it for 40 hours now?
No, it's 40 per pay period. It's 20 hours per week.
Yeah, that's
Okay. Okay.
He's doing 12 hours. 12 hours, I think, with the fire prevention, and 8 hours as a subcode official. That's what his increase would be.
So the 20 hours a week is enough, sufficient for him?
That's what he feels at this point.
Okay.
He was a little alarmed that I only had the 15, so I said I'd come back here and talk to you.
Right.
Just
All right. I had
He
no,
needs to get the job done. That's what he
yeah,
needs.
I think we're okay with that. Anyone not okay with that? No. All right.
I'll make that change. Okay. Now, I know there's another item that came up, and that was from you, Mayor. In the mayor's budget, I had put $250 in for seminars and that type of thing. But he brought before me, there's a New Jersey Conference on Mayors membership that he'd like to join at $395. Last year we did it, and it was charged to administration. It was originally charged to an account we didn't have. But when I inherited, I made changes and got things lined up where we were supposed to. And I talked to Beth. I said I had to find a home for it because we had paid for it. So, again, it was charged to administration in the past. Now, whether we keep it there or move the money over, I mean, I'll leave that up to your decision here. But it's $395, I believe. Is that what the
Something like that. Yeah, I think that and the council, the New Jersey League of Municipalities, there's a couple of organizations like that that we've belonged to for a long time.
So is it like a membership fee? This is?
Yeah, it's like a professional thing, you know, and they give you materials and things like that.
Is it needed?
I think most municipalities belong to it.
No, I understand, but is it needed? Yeah.
Is anything needed?
I don't know.
What is
You
it?
know what,
I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
Is it a
know.
publication?
No, they do give publications. They do send out stuff. You get this stuff.
In my experience, most municipalities do belong to it.
Right.
That's good along the league. We don't really, go to the league, but there is material there. And,
Beneficial to us?
well, you get out of it what you put into it, you know, like all these things. I really don't have a problem with it, Bernie. I suggest you put it where it makes sense.
Okay.
I think, maybe the league should go under council and the mayor should go under the mayor's.
Yeah, don't put it on mine.
Right, the league is right now under the council. And if this
Yeah.
mayor's thing is, yeah, we'll do. I'll increase that one line for $395.
You should also put a little money under the council for training in case they want to go to seminars that are offered.
I believe there is money there for.
There is
for
money.
training.
Okay, good.
I think you have money for seminars and training, right? Or you
My
think,
stuff, I didn't put any of that.
I didn't think-
Nobody else went to trainings before, so.
Well, it's, yeah, they may want to. I don't know how they feel about it. There is that new member of a council training thing that the league puts on, which is beneficial. Gives you. Did you go to that? The new council person?
Nobody's gone to that in years.
No? Okay.
Years.
I think that's a couple
They should go, yeah, they should go.
You know, what I thought was beneficial.
You thought it was beneficial?
I think those classes are over now.
Because you got two guys that are just here, and I think
Those
they
classes
may
are
want to go.
over now.
Did you go for one for mayor?
it would be for,
I'm
going to- Same one.
I'm being serious.
it's the same when you go to.
Would you?
Very good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Usually help.
It's only a day, you know? It's
Yeah.
like a-
it's held on a Saturday.
Yes, Saturday.
Yeah.
Probably was held in March. I know the person that teaches it. It's a good seminar for you. It gives you, a little synopsis of the budget process,
All right.
the interaction with the auditor, what that means, and what you're signing off on, basically.
It's over now, though.
Yeah.
Next year.
No, you can get it maybe in January. That's what it is, I think. 'Cause I went, it was
It's at the beginning of the year,
I
but
had
it's
to go
not.
really
It's
far.
not January though. I know it's not January. They used to have it in January, but I think they pushed it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I'll put a note for next year. I guess. I mean, it's probably a worthwhile program for you.
Are you entertaining other changes now, or are you?
Sure.
Okay. I got a bunch, and I think you probably get some money back. The planning board, I proposed dropping that from 26,350 to 23,000. That's more than they actually spent last year. And if you look at the history, other than 2015, which was an anomaly that had a lot of litigation, we have 213, 214, which were very low. 215 was high, 216 was 22, so we don't need a lot of these special meetings. The law says you do a master plan reexamination every 6 years. We did it in 213. It's not due till 2019. We have to wait up for the Highlands anyway. We're just spinning our wheels trying with these special meetings, so we'll have plenty of time to get that done.
So I get that correct? You want to?
Well, that's my proposal. We'll have to see. Why don't we go through my proposals and see how it works?
What was the number you wanted? to bring?
23.
23 even?
Yeah. Which is more than they spent last year.
23 is more than what they spent last year?
Yeah, they spent 22,317 last year.
So even up to, and this year's proposal is 26?
This year, there's work that has to be done for the Highlands.
And I'm under a grant, and we'll have time to do that.
Some of it's under a grant, but
We'll have plenty of time to do that.
well, they didn't think so, so they asked.
They're all brand new, and there's plenty of time to do that. Shade Tree Commission, we had 2850, and Beth, we're done with our forestry plan, right?
Well, yeah, in fact, I'm waiting for them to send me a check. We didn't get anything from the, shade tree yet, did we?
I don't think so.
But we're not gonna incur any more costs there, are we?
No, they don't even meet.
Well, we got 2850 there, Bernie, which we can take and do something with.
You want that completely out, or you
I
want
would
any-
say leave 500.
Okay,
What?
Let's take 2350 out of that.
Not for shade tree.
Don't we get trees from Shade Tree, or
Get it from somewhere, another organization.
distribute them through Shade Tree?
Yeah, but there's so many that we're not allowed to have in the town, and that's usually what they give most of the time. So we gave most of them away.
They're not indigenous?
So we didn't plant one of them in our town, meaning for township, all right, because the ones that they gave us weren't compatible with the town.
The next one, Bernie, is the fire companies. Fire company number 1 and 2. They're asking for 38,772. If you try and compare the requests from the two different departments, they're all over the place. There doesn't seem to be a common theme. Last year, we only spent about 23. That's a humongous increase. I think you have to temper that. I do like to support them. Last year, they asked for the budget was 31. My suggestion is take 5 out of there. Let's put 31 in.
30, so 38 to 30 would be 7,700.
Yes.
Do you have any flavor as to where, because I put it into different areas that they had requested. They wanted preventive maintenance. They had something in for,
Yeah, but it's funny, if you compare 1 and 2,
I have just one overall.
no, if you go on the worksheet,
Oh,
their
okay.
requests, right? So I was going to say 31 for everything.
Okay.
And then last year, they only spent 23, so it's
What was their budget last year?
31.
So they didn't spend the whole budget.
That's right.
That's good. So we'll do the same thing then, 31.
Yeah, that'd be my suggestion. Emergency management. I got a question for Beth. I know what Gary does, but we got a coordinator and a deputy.
Yes.
Do we have to have that? Okay. I get down into the swimming pool, and we have the rec committee, which is under parks, right?
Correct. We don't do a separate, they haven't done a separate recreation budget here. It's all done through the parks and playgrounds area
If
only.
you can bear it with me while I find it. Recreation submitted a separate request, and they had 15,000. They had movies at the park, 2,500, which is accounted for in the parks and playgrounds budget.
Mhm.
They had the Easter egg hunt, which is come and gone, and that's 1,500.
Which they spent already.
Yeah, which is accounted for. They had Community Day for 5,000, which is accounted for in the budget. But I couldn't find 2 things, and I looked in both here and the pool. One was music in the park. Does that ring a bell?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, you know what it is, right? But
That's
nobody found
Veterans
it.
Pavilion. I think they pay.
No,
No, we did.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite right.
Right.
The veterans may sponsor one concert. But the series,
The series,
the
every
series is paid for us.
Right.
Yeah. So that was 3,500, and I don't see that, Bernie.
that's buried in. There's a couple of accounts. Just bear with me. You don't have an account number, do you?
No, I don't. I have the accounts in front of me, but nothing identifies that. But this came from your separate request.
Just bear with me. I'm gonna have to.
Recreation movies.
No, that we got. It's the music part.
Oh, music, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And the other, Beth, is the pool 50th.
What more to make a request for?
2,500.
Well, that's good.
No, we don't. Last year was the 49th.
It was very small. Next year's pretty small again.
In answer of your first question on the pools and dances, in parks and playgrounds, there's an account for pool dances, DJ, LAA advertising.
That's different. That's dances.
No, this is all. That's not.
They hire a DJ and they have a whole series of pool dances.
Yeah, that's not music.
That's not music in the park.
No, that's not music in the park.
That's where it was paid out of last year.
Well, it could have been paid out of there last year, but
But it
should have been paid
Shouldn't have
out of there last year.
it's a different event, different sponsorship, different everything.
All right, here's my dilemma here. You got the 10,000 budgeted, they spent 8,800. So I felt she had enough, probably she was looking for 2,500. And if you look at what was paid out of there, some of that was paid out of there. There's all sorts of things that were paid out. You want a separate music in the park category?
Well, let me ask Beth, the pool dances are sponsored by whom?
Well, we pay for, we sponsor the pool
Who's
dance.
we, the pool or the rec committee?
No, the town. And the LAA chaperones, each sport takes one night or two, I don't care how
Or
many
their
they take.
contract, it's in their.
And I pay them $250 if they show up with 10 chaperones.
Yeah.
And so the DJs, is that a separate line item where we pay him? No, is it all in that 10?
Yeah.
So, you're paying out for, how many sports are there? 5 or 6 sports. $250 a shot, then you're paying, the DJ out of that. They're $250 to $300 a shot for every dance.
It's 1,500, another 1,800.
Covered that too?
I don't know.
Are there admissions charged to the kids that go to the dance?
Oh, yeah.
So that nets out, right? Is that what's happening, Bernie? You netting it
No,
out?
that wouldn't be,
No.
this is the
There's no
revenue.
net up here.
Yeah,
That
that's,
revenue goes probably to each of those organizations.
that revenue that comes in goes right into the pool. You have that
The
revenue
pool,
item,
okay.
in the front here.
Yeah, now the revenue associated with it goes to the pool. This is at the veterans.
Yeah. Yeah, that, you're gonna have to
Don't
put a separate line item in there under Parks and
But then
Playgrounds.
do I pull money out of that 10?
No, you do not. No, you do not.
Okay.
Well, you got your orders there.
Maybe let's
So,
what do you want me to put in it? I don't care.
My suggestion-
I don't care.
You just took money away from something else. so-
no, we're taking money away, so we got a little bit here. We got, 3,500 I'd like to see here.
3,500?
Yeah, and then, Beth, we do plan on the 50th,
You want to,
event, right?
what are we gonna call this?
Yeah, Lori's planning
Music
it.
in the
I
park.
don't know anything about it, so. I don't know.
Well, she was figuring on some events there to commemorate it, and she requested 2,500, and it is the 50th.
Yeah. So do you want to put that into the pool budget, or do you want to put that into Parks and Playgrounds because it's a recreational thing?
Well, I think Red's helping you with it, it's a pool, and that way you'll be guaranteed to be involved, right?
I think it should be parks and playgrounds.
Parks and Playgrounds. Because
Be honest with
that's,
you.
that's
Not
fitting
pool.
with community day, it's fitting
Right.
with the music,
I just want, my suggestion is that that's in there. So I think with all those, pluses and minuses, you still get a few bucks back.
Okay? No problem.
And, I'd like to make a motion to make those changes.
You make the motion, I'll second it.
I'm not sure what the changes are. Can you get back to us?
Sure.
I'd like to make one.
Do you even have to do that? That just comes about, you
What
don't
do you
have
want
to
to
do that. Joe, I don't think you need a motion. I mean, he's just gonna make these changes.
Well, all right.
Go ahead.
What I'm trying to do is make sure that it's not just me proposing this, that the board,
I'm gonna read back everything, so, because I gotta make sure that it's done,
Right.
okay?
Under animal control.
Yes.
In 2016, we adopted modified budget of 8,000. We only spent 79.26. This year was 97, almost $9,800.
Because some of it last year was charged to the animal control. I'm just concerned that we won't have enough reserve money in there and running a deficit position. I'm having more paid out of current. The whole 100% of the salary of the animal ward will come out of current. It's like one of these split funds. My dilemma there would be you have to raise your dog license fee to have enough money in your trust dog fund to pay for all those services. At this point in time, to do it, you wouldn't do it mid-year. You do it at the beginning of the year. It's something that we can address going forward. Next year, take a look at it, take a snapshot. Does it look like we need to raise if we want to shift that back and be paid out of the dog fund, then we might have to raise our dog fees to accommodate that extra cost. Ken, do we have room to raise on the dog? Are we at the top?
People don't like paying what they're paying now.
I know. Well, that's why I brought it up, because I think a few years ago we did have a deficit.
Yes, we did.
So that's what I did.
Was that the only 1 year we had a deficit?
We had 1 year, right, and then you have to raise it in your budget the subsequent year. So 6 of one, half dozen another.
Do you anticipate that we're going to go in the third year?
That's why I'm doing what we're doing, because I saw last year if I didn't do the transfer, we would have been a deficit.
Okay.
That's one comment I want to get out of the audit report. That's what I'm trying to.
So $1,900 increase.
That would accommodate us to not have a problem by the end of this year.
Okay.
That's why I did it.
Okay. Did you ever look into, last week we talked about the employee group health insurance?
Yes, I did. And the reason on that is the split. If you looked at that detail, and the group health, the way your budget was done last year, forgive me, I don't think it was done exactly right. The group health should be by itself. Your general liability should be by itself. The workers' comp should be by yourself. The way it was accounted for and the detailed records, it was all one lump sum, sub-accounted. But if you look at the detail, what you got from me the other day, those sheets where you get into the insurances,
Right.
I had it like, and what I gave you tonight is like more of a summary, and it's not, I didn't put,
So the 40,000
I
increase.
showed all the insurances in there. Well, one, medical did go up a little bit. It wasn't as bad as some of the other, but the state health benefit did go up. Some of it might have gone up 8%. Just hang on with me. Now, let me get on the insurances. In what I gave you today, there's a page that shows all the insurances on one page so you can see it. What I did for you here, I split everything out. And what you saw wasn't as much of an increase because what got absorbed in there was some of the general liability policy and some of the workers' comp policy. All right, here it is. The true health insurance, last year, our paid amount charge was $402. It's not days. I can tell you the account number that's on the left-hand side, remember? It's about a third of the way in.
Can you make that number?
105,220 from left to right.
So we can all get the
I apologize.
105,220. Okay, you got it.
And what also is in there, I had to factor in, you have 2 new employees coming in on the police. There's 6 months of their health benefits that are in there.
Mhm.
Last year, you hired, I think, 2 public works employees. There's only 6 months of their medical in there. Last year, it wasn't even 6 months because you have a 60-day wait. But I factored that in. Those are the reasons why your health insurance is up, plus the regular increases.
Right.
Also in there, it's not just the,
This is going to be an annual thing now? This is going to be a definite permanent number, plus increases every year.
well, you've seen increases in medical a lot more than 8%. I've seen 18% in certain cases. State, my own experience, I had the county self-insured. First year we did okay. Second year we got killed. We breached in the first year. We had a policy. I think it was a $10 million coverage policy. We breached the $10 million, the umbrella. To get the umbrella the second year, forget it. It was going to cost us through the nose. You're in a state health benefit plan. Which
One huge group.
you're one huge group.
Prices down, everybody.
I'm going to just tell you what I saw here. I saw what you're paying versus what the county was paying with the separate blues contract. I called them and told them they better do something. They're paying almost double from what your policy is.
They better transfer it to the state.
They're going in the state. As soon as they should have done it at the beginning of the year. They did it. They're going in July 1st.
The more towns that participate.
There's good and bad.
The bigger the cost down.
You would think that. It's all about risks. And you know, the county even provides for retirees, which it's all about age.
Yeah.
Insurance is age. It's all about your age, and it's your risk in your town. So with the big plan, you don't get hit if one person all of a sudden has a major problem. You know.
So you're talking about
Even
the age of our employees in town? That's what you're talking about?
That'll affect it. Yeah, sure. But as you get younger, it's not going to affect it because state health benefits doesn't look into that.
Yeah,
You're one big homogeneous
just like our
pool.
statewide insurance.
Correct.
They don't look at each town individually as much as they look at it globally, you know. So.
If you go out on your own and let's say you go and get your own plan, they look at the ages and look at your hospitals, what you're paying in your hospitals in certain areas. And, you know, you have employees that live in Pennsylvania, that area. They weigh all that in their, how can I say, in their premium projections. I mean, if you go over the baseline, they're getting you next year. Your rates could, you know, I've seen it go up 32%. You know, but the state plan over the last 2 or 3 years, it's been pretty stable. Comparatively speaking. I don't believe BSing you. I saw those rates and I said, whoa. I couldn't believe it. It's almost half. It's 60% of what they were paying up at the county. That's a big number when you have, you know, how many employees we have here? 26 full-time? You're talking about up there, you know, 350. And that's huge. It's a huge number. It's millions of dollars. But, again, they'll put stuff in the newspaper. Is the plan fully funded? Probably not. It's heavily subsidized by the state of New Jersey. It's like one of those things that beat up the pension system, you know, that type of thing too. But most of your bigger cities are in the state plan. I don't think it's going anywhere. They're not walking away from it.
What's about insurance?
Yeah.
What about property insurance?
That's in the general liability. That's up on the top. I set that up. That's your commercial.
How should that happen?
That 128 is net of, and if you looked in the information I gave you, I showed you what the premium was and how much gets allocated to sewer. We allocate a portion of that to the sewer.
And auto insurance?
That's part of your that commercial package, including your police liability too. And that was from the billing we got from statewide. They were up a little bit. Last year, our commercial package, we paid out $123,277. This year's came in at $128,587. The workers' comp, last year, total cost to us was net because we had money going out of the sewer, but net again this year, it's up about $3,000. It was $92,708 last year. The billing that we got this year is $95,855.
How does workers' comp base their rate here?
They do an audit of us.
Is it,
It's not a flat rate. Everybody, each job has a different rate. Public Works is a lot higher than, let's say, myself sitting in an office. But they come in and do an audit of full-time and I think part-time
based on
individuals.
salaries, correct?
That is correct.
About 15.83.
You guys are
You
15.
guys, those are all down, we're actually higher than the police.
Yeah. Are you really?
Yeah, higher than police.
If I have the whole, I have the whole breakdown. All how it works. If I can tell you how much you guys are, I think you're 26 cents.
Carpenters are almost $20. Roofers are highest.
We don't have any tree climbers, do we?
I have the whole thing, the whole standard.
Yeah, because the tree climbers were like astronomical.
Everybody, you mean based on their title?
Yeah, it's all by title.
So what's the most expensive?
For us here, it's us.
No, you guys, but you're talking about individual employees?
I have to go back.
All right, so it is broken down.
That's correct.
I was just trying to think about why we get hurt.
All right. Is that, you got your stuff in, Lou? Are there any other members of the council that have any, items that they want to add or delete or get further explanation on? Okay, it doesn't look like that. So Bernie, if you want to just recap.
Okay. The first item was planning board OE. Reduce it from what we have in the budget now, $26,350 to even $23,000. Next item up, shade tree commission. Reduce what we have in the budget, $2,850 down to $500. Fire company number one, which was really number 1 and 2, we had $38,772. Reduced that to $31,000. So we have an increase in the parks and playgrounds under miscellaneous other. We want to increase from the $32,650. We want to increase to $3,500 for a separate line item in there for music in the park. What I need to do is I also have to add in $395 under the mayor's OE for the New Jersey Conference of Mayors membership.
And then something for the...
And then I have to increase 10 hours per pay period for our,
Fire inspector.
Fire inspector.
Right. And the only other thing, if you've completed your list,
I just
No,
have
you
one,
want to add,
25 for the 50th.
50th pool party.
Yeah.
How much was that, 2,500?
the pool party. The 50th anniversary pool party. Bathing suits optional. Only kidding.
No, we didn't even have it in here at all. I think, did you write it down on your yellow tablet that we have to add that under parks and playgrounds?
I have music in the park, 3,500 play.
2,500 for that one.
So the 50th for the pool.
Yeah. 50th birthday.
So on top of the 3,500, I'll put a separate line item for.
Yeah, it should be its own line item. It's going to come and go. See it again.
So when is this food party?
It's like maybe
May 28th,
26th or 27th or
28th, I believe, right?
28th.
You could go to swim.
It's 28th to Sunday, 28th, and like vigil at night too.
Yeah, that's it.
Did you guys want to put in like $1,000 for training for the council members if they so desire to attend training?
Let me ask you this, where would we get our training at the league?
League, yeah.
We're league members, right?
Yes.
And then there's an additional fee for courses down there?
Yeah, but you get the league rate.
The Rutgers University puts on courses.
You can go to the mayor's thing too. They get it's a separate rate for that.
Oh, what did you say, $1,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we do that? We don't use it, but the training's good. Yes.
What do you want that under?
Council.
Mayor and council.
Let's see what else. Oh,
Is that gonna be just this year? 1 year?
next year you decide again. Next year you decide.
The budget.
Yeah.
Will I do it again?
See how, if it's been used, if you guys come back
That's the thing, is it?
saying it's used. Well, you should use it. Go on the League of Municipalities website, they have all these trainings.
Okay, that's fine.
Now, roads, increasing the capital or the surplus for the roads, that put a little extra money towards the roads.
Well,
I don't know, this
are you
seems,
talking capital? Because I'll get into capital. I wanted to talk sewer,
okay.
because we really haven't finalized sewer.
Keep going, you.
In the packet that you got tonight, towards the back, there's a whole section on sewer. And sewer numbers, I would say go back about 10 pages. Sewer numbers start at 765.
Mm-hmm.
And the first sheet you should see on the sewer would be summary of the revenue, operating revenue, it says.
Let me catch up to you, Bernie.
Probably not even 10 pages back. It's what I gave you tonight, the packet.
It'll be at the end of the packet.
I'm on the wages. I got to get to the revenue.
It's gonna look like
It
this.
starts out with operating surplus anticipated.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, okay. All set.
Okay?
Not anticipating any surplus similar to last year. Last year we realized $1,863,000. We're anticipating $1,008,000. Interest and cost on the sewer, realized $19,207. Anticipating $15,000. Interest on investments at $2,600. We're anticipating $2,000. And the hookup fees, we realized $5,000. We're anticipating $2,500.
I think something's got to be off there.
I do too, and I talked to her today. We have a huge number coming in that just got billed, or she's billing it now, on the apartments. And we're not billing out at $2,500. They're getting billed out, I think, at $1,250. But our agreement, I'm going to have to, is 50% goes to people.
I can go over the agreement with you. I know the agreement.
Okay. Well, when you have that, when I get through this,
Right.
sit down. I believe the audit. Did you guys come up with 2,500 or 5,000? I'm not sure. On the financial statement, yeah, it should show up there.
Yep.
I might have to adjust that to 5,000 on the hookup fees that got realized. Might be 5,000, and that 1,900 might go down.
We don't break out miscellaneous
I
revenue.
know, it's
more
in
than
another,
number.
yeah. The numbers in total, the 1,819.5 is solid. It might get reallocated a little differently. Based on what I have to sit down with John on his, because he's in between the financial statement and the audit. I want to try to get the right number on there. But, the total amount is there. The 1,819.5 is good.
I don't know if we show this, but did we have a surplus coming into the year?
At the end of the year, surplus went up a little bit. So I don't have that with
You went from 355,000 to 386,000.
So we got 386 sitting there, and we're not drawing against that for operating expenses.
Not yet.
Okay.
I would caution you, again, I'm listening on what from what Rachel was saying, when she's concerned about implementing some of these changes and giving the reductions that we've talked about. I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about what I'm hearing from, talking to our roads in terms of we're getting hit with a lot more sewer repairs that we're picking up. Now, I did put some more money in our budget for it. I know we have already 3 or 4. One that, we actually have to redo the driveway. That's coming up, and that's not going to be a cheap, probably.
And then I understand. Bear with me on the discounts bit. It's only for seniors and disabled who meet certain income criteria. It's only 10%. They don't generate big bills. And she showed me the applications we had received over like the last 2 quarters, and it's about that much. Okay. So when you run the arithmetic, I can't believe it's going to amount to a hell of beans.
Joe, I would recommend build the surplus up. If you want to consider a reduction next year, I'll be here almost a year, to try to get you through that.
My goal is let's let it run a while, monitor it, and then when it's practical, I'd like to implement something when we're all comfortable.
Understood. I understand where you're coming from. And again, we're trying to shift more out of this, because remember the surpluses, we did take it down to 50,000 this year, to 25 to 25. So we are, and I want to continue to try to do that. That's too, I didn't bring that up. On the current side, there is some shifting going on. When you talk about shifting 50,000, the tax point was 80,000. So you almost got a tax point right there on the shift. So
I understand that, and I think the mayor is in agreement with me. For the people in the audience, Barney lives outside of the sewer service area. I live within it. Why should I pay a higher sewer rate so he can have a lower tax rate? It's all a question of equity.
Right. Plus, it's not deductible. If you make taxes what they should be, sewer what they should be. So we're working towards that. We've been working towards it. We can't do it 1 year, it's too disruptive, but every year we're hoping to get to the point where it's completely.
Well, I'd like to see it being reduced, since we're not going to be using, I'd like to see the sewer rate.
That's what we're doing.
Well, it's
yeah.
I mean, hopefully that's a planned and part of the goal here.
Well, there's another thing too you have out there.
The sewer rate, but it is. People complain about the sewer rates.
That was a big complaint from the town.
You have like some stuff going on. I'd like to see the dispute get settled too, when you final everything up, because I'd hate to see you reduce and something happens with that suit.
We're not going to go higher.
Okay.
On the suit. There's no downside, only an upside, other than the money we spend, pursuing it. So that's not going to hurt us. I mean, it would be prudent to get these senior discounts implemented. We're already late with that. We want to do that. Build that surplus just a little bit, and then the next step, Lou, would be, in steps, modest decrease, and then just, continue with that until we think we're all trued up here.
We're attacking the problem.
No, I know.
It's a multi-year thing, but it'll be gone. It'll be done.
I understand the logic behind it, that they're, moving money from the sewer to keep the tax base down. So it was sort of, almost like a give back to the sewer paying customers. However, I understand the other part where the people who don't have sewer, they're getting the benefits. So it's a double-edged sword that we have here.
Right.
All right, well, I was revenue, so.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay. I understand where you're coming from.
And then Beaver hasn't raised our sewer rate.
Not that I know of.
Actually, they did. It was about 4 years ago.
That's what I mean.
I didn't get anything this year.
4 years.
It was probably my last involvement over there. They announced a 5-year increase, 2% a year.
Exactly.
And that's really what prompted the lawsuit. They did it 1 year, 2%, and then
That was it.
forgot about the other 4. So,
Well, that's what prompted, to, dig deeper into the contract,
yeah.
in which Joe, found the language.
But we should talk about it.
No, no,
yeah.
We'll let our attorney pursue.
If you flip the page, we have appropriations that add up to $1,819,500, and the details of it, provided sewer collected would be Rachel, who is our tax collector. I'm shifting, after sitting down with the budget committee, kind of was indicated that too much was shifted for, the collector's time. It was almost like 90% of her time was charged to sewer. We shifted that down to 55%. Then my time, I guarantee, I spend more than that, probably 25% of my time's on sewer. 25% of Jenny's time's on sewer, so we allocated, instead of about 20%, we shifted ours to 25%. And then we designate one road guy, part of his salary to sewer. Instead, rather than taking a little bit from each one of them. Do they do a lot? I mean, there's times they do things probably, and there's other times you don't do.
They get involved.
Okay? But again, when you have those, I know, Brian's been involved in those sewer, problems that we've had. That's his time. I mean, so, again, trying to be fair about it, one individual, we indicated, so that each payroll gets allocated. Every one of my payrolls gets allocated to part. 75 goes to current, 25, and if you had looked at the detail that I gave you saw that in the papers that I had already given you. So the details of who's in it and who and what gets charged is in back, how we get to each one of us. Rachel's salary with the 2% increase. So again, it's a shifting of 45% current, 55% goes to the sewer. Mine I show the breakdowns. Jennifer's, and then Brian Race is the roads guy that we allocate some of his salary back here. Any questions on it?
No, I think it's a fair allocation, Vern.
You put the middle of the road wages and the road side.
Next is the other expenses that go with it, and I kind of used last year's numbers as a guide. There's one that I had to increase because I got hit with a pretty good sized legal bill for, we had $25,000 in there, and I just got hit with bond counsel, and that USDA came in at, like, it was $13,000, I believe. Whatever the difference that I have it down in there. So we charge the actual, if we charge the sewer capital. Any ordinance will be done, the USDA is the sewer capital, so that his time would be charged here. That's why it's in there. What we did this year, after some of our concerns with some of the sewer problems that we were having, the sewer leaks, we bumped up sewer line repairs and kind of aligned it to where we think we might need it. Trying to be a little bit more conservative with it.
And that's the 63, Vern?
That's the 63.4. Yeah, that was the balance to try to. there are certain things raised here towards the back. The health insurance, we allocate to sewer. There's 25,000 being consistent with what you've done. Liability is 50,000, workers' comp's 10. It's just general allocations done through this particular utility. Yeah, the USDA financing just got the bill for $12,006. I put $4,000 in there for any sewer ordinances, and I know we're going to have to do something with the sewer. We have that one ordinance that's pretty old, and what he wants us to do has to do with the USDA, and it's probably going to have to. I'm going to have him come out here and meet with us, almost like on a workshop session. John, I would like there too to clean up and actually cancel the old ordinance and reappropriate it to what we need it for. And that is something I need to talk to. I'm new here. The mayor and Joe helped me to understand what you have, but I'm going to need Paul, the engineer here, Beth also, and kind of come up with a plan of and what will satisfy the USDA, because I want to take advantage of the $850,000 we have as a grant. So I need to somehow make sure it lines up with the new ordinance. All I'm doing is like canceling the old one off and reappropriating it, because the last time we did some work in December, it was a little legal was a little concerned, but he went with it. But he says we got to clean up clean it up.
Ernie,
Well, he went with that, but ultimately we're going to charge that to you're talking about the sinkhole cost, right?
Yeah.
We're going to ultimately charge that to the USDA.
Well, I got charged to that ordinance, which then allows us to charge to the USDA.
Okay.
But again, some money, like, how can I say this? The loan was for a little bit more than what we put in for reimbursement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we
you're
have
right.
to come up to that. And then not much more. I think it was less than 100,000.
And Joe, I think we talked about that with Dan Madden when we met with him.
I'm sorry, Beth, I was reading this. What was that?
All right.
Is this, are you talking about?
We had that sinkhole happen, okay, and that was like $120,000. Right.
Okay.
So we had an open ordinance that Bernie contacted, Gibbons, John Drakewitz, and he said we could charge it. It was a little, he said we could charge it and it would be fine. But ultimately, we were going to take that same amount of money and then charge it to the USDA.
Right.
Because when we closed on the loan with the USDA, we got all the loan money, but about $150,000 of it wasn't used yet.
Right.
But we were like 90% there, so they gave us the entire amount.
Right.
So we have that plus the $850,000 in the grant. Now, we met with Dan Madden a few weeks ago. He was supposed to send off to the USDA those plans to use a majority of that money. So that's what you want to see.
That's what we need to then reappropriate it to meet those needs.
Yeah.
That's all we have to do.
Well, on the subject here, where are we with, the dispute here with Aqua, because they had a water line break, which
Yeah.
I believe caused a sinkhole, which.
Well, we sent all the documentation, Katrina sent all the documentation that we gathered off to their insurance company.
Okay. And our bill was what? 75,000, 73,000?
Oh, it's more than that.
Yeah.
More than that. It was over 100.
It was over 100?
The second thing.
Like 120 to 130,000. Which is what we charged off to the ordinance
Correct.
that, we're ultimately
What
going
did the contractor charge us? Have they charged us?
to, I don't have the
72,000?
breakdown right
The
here.
contractor alone was the 70-something thousand.
Yeah, he was like 77 or
So you're saying there's another 50,000?
There's other costs, yeah. Paul was involved in it.
The
something.
slurry sheet and
And then there was the slurry stuff.
ground penetrating radar.
So we sent.
We have pump sewers over the
So
whole
we
thing.
sent the bill to their insurance company for 120,000, correct?
We sent them, yes, our expenses,
Right.
and, there was some police reports involved, what the residents felt they heard, and so all of that was gathered together and sent off to the insurance.
So they're gonna battle it out now.
Well, we'll see how that goes.
Bernie, I had one suggestion and one question. It would probably be good to break out the pilot separately to P-Berg. I think we have a line for it.
That was that, $36,000.
36. If we didn't send a gallon, we would still owe that. And all the rest is proportional to flow, so it's really a different charge. I would break that out. And then,
Hang on, let me.
That's the pilot in lieu of taxes, right?
in payment, no with taxes.
Understand.
And then, if I'm reading this right, we get $1,008,000 something in revenues. We got $1,004,000 in operating expenses, so we got 400 and something that's available for debt service, right? We're not at profit yet. We still have to pay our debt service.
Yeah. Well,
Do we cover that?
this budget is covered.
You know what I'm saying? We got $1,008,000 in revenues, $1,004,000 in expenses, so we got 400, which is available to cover debt service.
Yes, we do. That didn't get printed out for some reason.
And I'm just curious what the coverage is. I hope it covers it.
I have to print out another sheet for you. Can you give me like a 2-minute recess to get that?
I don't have to know it this minute if you want to.
Well, I'm just gonna say,
later.
our debt service for this year is kind of light because there's really only one, debt service coming due on a principal side.
Right.
Each of the debt services, there's both principal and interest with the USDA loan, which is a little different than what we see in,
Is it direct reduction?
what's that?
Direct reduction?
Each principal payment reduces your interest cost, so it's amortized.
Yeah.
But this year, we have a July 16th billing, and then it doesn't come back until January 16th of next year. So I only have one bill this year.
And next year we would have
Now you're gonna-
semi-annual.
Yeah, you're gonna have both. Two, correct. But this year, there was some interest that we paid off on the note.
Yeah.
And, that's pretty much it. I want to see if there was a pay down. I think, I don't recall if there was a pay down on any of the, I don't think there was.
There wasn't, because you
No.
paid the ban off entirely to get the new
Okay.
debt.
Yeah. I mean, I could,
What's $3 million?
what,
The amount of the bond, the USDA, $2 million.
$2,150,000.
The
Yeah,
$2,150,000, and the interest rate's what?
Interest rate's 3.7-ish.
So it's like what?
It's a 40-year, it's a 40-year
$70,000 or
payout.
something?
What's
The
that?
interest is how much? 70?
I'm not gonna go off the top of my
But
head.
again, it's a
I'll get the
40-year
amortization
payout.
schedule.
So it's,
Yeah,
I apologize. I mean,
but it's not gonna be anywhere near $400,000.
no, I mean, I'll give you, let me,
I'm just trying to verify
Can I ask you something?
our rate is.
I'm gonna just say something to make a suggestion to you. I'm not trying to spend your money.
Yeah.
But you should have a laptop. And you should have a place where I can put on a screen where I can connect and I can bring everything into this meeting. I feel handicapped because I'd be able to answer your question like that. And
See how all these additions and subtractions work out. Maybe we can find out.
I concur with the elect.
I mean, I'm just trying to, I apologize. I'm
This
just,
is not help sheet for that.
they're not that, I mean, they're not that
And
bad.
you need a television screen back
But you need a screen or something. I don't know if you have one that comes down, or I need a smart board I can connect right in, right here, and get into the system. What's that? No, I mean, I'd like to put a smart board there, to tell you the truth.
All
And
right.
connect in.
I'm convinced we the rates work. I'll get you another time what the coverage is, so.
I'm gonna get that for you, just, if you.
Well, I think if you look at it, you got salaries of 86,000, other expenses of 1.4 million, so you're looking at 1.5 million between the two. And then with Bernie's recap at the top, he's tying out revenues to expenditures, so the other 319 is in there somewhere. So I'm sure that has to do with debt and capital.
Yeah, I just feel
That's
bad. I just-
not- yeah.
I don't-
All right.
That's a good catch, though, Joe.
You want to take your 5 minutes to get it? Would you feel better? It's up
Yeah,
to you.
because I'm gonna be done with sewer. Once I'm done with that, then I
Okay.
wanna get more capital.
All right.
Okay?
We're going to take a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
Anybody want one?
I just put another case on my, let's go to the left case.
Luke, anybody want one?
Figure it out. What do you want? Yeah. All right, I'll take one, thank you.
I don't know if they're
Yeah, last minute, I should have known better. The last page, I didn't, I'm sorry. What this has in it, not only the debt service payments, but, 100,000 going into capital improvement fund, similar to last year, building up the reserve. We have the over expenditure of appropriation reserves that kind of inherited, 12,975. Serial bond, principal, 14,922. The interest coming due on the USDA, it's really USDA, it says serial bonds to the USDA. I can't change the computer wording until after I finally adopt. You've got the surplus that's being anticipated over the current. That's where we dropped this 25,000 from 150 to 125. Yeah, Social Security and unemployment insurance.
Yeah, that surplus has dropped from, was 250, now it's a couple of years back, now it's 125, so we cut it in half.
So we'll continue to do so.
Getting back to the principal and interest, say 217, that's one payment a year or two on here?
This is one payment.
So next year it would be, over 100, right?
Correct.
Fine.
It would be the 14,922 plus the 54,850.
Yeah.
So that's 70.
All right.
That's 70 plus another 15, right?
Yes.
Where's the recreation?
That's one payment, one principal payment, there'll be two.
As far as the payments.
So I'm thinking 85.
I don't trust that.
Yeah. Bernie, what do we got here? We're just, we got,
Recreation fund and other department is a trust. Money comes in and money goes out.
It's not budgeted for in the budget. It's a dedication by right.
Okay.
Money's flowing through, receipts go to the reserve, and you spend out of the reserve.
what do we do, Bernie? We double all
But I
these
don't
numbers
see
here,
that
these
anywhere here.
three numbers?
What three?
The 14,922?
Yeah, next year will be 14,922 and the 54,850, double it. That's what we'll have next year.
Okay.
But you won't have the interest on the notes of 37.
I got you. So it'd be 54, 50,
You make that
60,
change
about
right away.
70, so about 140 next year in debt service.
The sewer, again, I don't know, I'm new here. I don't know what you need to have done with the sewer. But we have, finally, we're getting some decent balances. Like in capital improvement fund, I think we have over 600,000 in the sewer. That's healthy. You have that, you have the 850, because I know sewer projects cost a lot of money to have done.
The 600, you quoted me 385 before?
No, that was current. We were talking on the current general capital side.
Right. Okay.
This is sewer's own capital fund.
The
All right, so
600
we only have, we have the sewer operating fund, and then the only other fund we have is the sewer capital fund?
There's a sewer assessment, which is inactive, really.
Right.
It's not that active. So sewer capital is linked to the sewer. Any capital associated
So
with the
we
sewer.
pay all our bills and we still got 600 grand sitting in the bank.
As down payment money, or you
Right.
want to pay for a project direct? You can
Right.
pay for a project direct.
Right, but over and above that, we got an $850,000 grant sitting there for us, so.
Which should clean up most of the problems.
Yeah.
There's 683,000, and then you're adding another 100,000 to it this year. So if things become tight going forward with the interest and principal payments,
That's where it's coming
you can always consider pulling back from that 100,000 to put into debt.
So we did another town, we just made a smaller contribution.
That's it.
Right.
And you had some money built in. I'm sure there was nothing specified. There were like other sewer projects. There were sewer repairs. If any of that's specific to a project, then you had to do an ordinance on it. You had 63,000 in the line item. You had to pull that out of the budget and do it by ordinance instead.
So we're,
But
I mean, the sewer operating is healthy.
Yeah.
Sewer operating and capital are healthy. I wish I could get current on that one.
Yeah.
Again, as I had mentioned to you before, I'd like to see our surplus be, more to the tune of about $1.2 million, rather than what we wound up with, a little over 300,000.
Yeah.
Because of cash flow, having to pay the school district, that first, that comes the first couple of days of January. We don't have a lot of cash, once that 1.2 million goes out to pay the board, we're not left with much money. And, certainly, again, I know I'm talking to the choir here. We don't get our state aid till the second half of the year, towards the end of the year at that. A lot of our costs are up front. Our heavy overtime costs with the road departments, January, February, beginning of March. Salt, big cost to us. Again, it's a first 3 months of the year type of thing. So, I mean, and your pensions.
I follow what you're saying, and I get the sewer, so.
What I'm going to give you, and I don't have it tonight, is a fund balance projection when we adopt our budget or introduce our budget. I normally try to give you a fund balance projection to see where we're going to go, and project out a year from now. So that's also a tool that we can use. Are there any problems with the sewer at this point?
No. Then we're good. I'm good.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
good.
Then I'd like to get into our capital program. We have to come up with a capital budget. I know because of our population, it only has to be 3 years. I did 5, but again, and I've done 2. The budget committee met on March 31st, and we kind of gave you a little bit of information at that time, and I did a debt plan at that time. What I've done is I've updated that debt plan to more specifically what we need our money for, plus, and in that plan it shows increase to your budget each year. I've tried to get it so it'd be a little bit, instead of one big year at $108,000, try to get gradual $10,000 or $20,000 increases in the budget. Again, it's a tool. If you don't want to go as much in your capital, we can reduce it. It's up to you. But there's gaps. In other words, I plan for a certain dollar amount in your capital for the next 5 years, but I've only got project listed with less money than what I put into the plan. So there's gaps there. What I did do is, again, we evaluated all the public works vehicles, and we rated them from 0 to 10. And there's some that are pretty low. I don't have that worksheet with me. I will give that to you when we introduce. But in this case, the 2 vehicles we're talking about replacing would be the sweeper and one of the big trucks. So I don't know if I should give you both. We'll do one. Let's do the March 31st one first. Because I gave you both here. The debt plan. It projects out, far out into the future. It goes all the way to, hopefully I'll still be alive, to the year 2030. So, again, and that's what we said before. If you take your challenges a little at a time, before you know it, you tackle those big problems that you do have. So do it a little at a time and over time. And believe it or not, I can only say from when I was at the county for 12 years, over that 12-year period, we took care of a lot of things and we actually reduced our overall debt. So it can be done. This is a guide. So this is version 1. And you go through a lot of these. It's also a planning tool. When we talk to the rating agencies, they like to see things like this in discussions of the governing body. The first page is 2 pages of the 3 pages that you normally see in your capital budget. Capital budget's in the back section of your budget. And again, remember it's a plan. That's all it is. It's not set in stone. The only thing that really is set in stone is the first year, the current year that you're working on. And that's what you see on that first, this is actually, that first sheet shows 2 of the schedules that you have, 2 of the 3 that you'll see in the capital budget. And the first one here is, these are projects that have been discussed. Paul was in one of our sessions, the engineer. We've gotten that grant, the $380,000 grant. I believe he told me we're going to need another $25,000 to $50,000 of our own money to add to it to get to the number that we need, because the 380, I don't know if it includes engineering costs. So I put in $50,000 more for the project, based on what I have. Now, if he comes back with something different, I'll have to change it for the meeting. I have to have something from him.
Yes.
But I could go with this. What he would do, if he doesn't give me something and it comes in different, then we'll have to amend this later. And it costs, costs us money, because we have to advertise, and it costs you time when you're up there, you're approving, and it makes it look like we don't know what we're doing, what we do. What I have in here is the replacement of the road vehicles that we talked about. The 2 vehicles. One, I think, had a cost of $270. That would be the sweeper, and then about $170 for the big truck and accessories and all. That's an estimate. We have some security and some equipment needed down in the office on the police department. Came in a little less than the 4, but there's other things that probably need to be done. For $4,000 as a placeholder, and that's going to come directly out of our budget. What I had in the budget that I presented to you. There's $17,000 of individual items in that capital improvement within our current fund budget. The fire department requested that upgrade of the hydraulic rescue tools. That was part of what they submitted to us. I funded it at this point. That's $38,775. That's the number they gave to us. I put in for roads as a placeholder at this point $150,000 on top of it, because again, what I've done is built this the first year, and then from it try to develop a debt plan. Because if you go to we'll finish up with what I got here. 150 gets you started. I believe Paul said it costs approximately $100,000 per mile, road mile to be done, and that's the two lanes. The one road that you have to do is almost 3 lanes. It's that, yeah, that's almost 3. That's pretty wide.
That's 3 lanes.
Yeah, it's almost there. So that one would take a little bit more.
Almost 4. Subsections.
Yeah. So, and then there was talk about maybe putting medians in, but then we got problems plowing probably. That would create more problems plowing.
No median.
Just leave it alone probably. Just pave it.
Yeah.
And then I put in for the firehouse, 12,009, I rounded it to 13,000 for that, firehouse parking lot.
Which is a bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good price.
You're getting it with no manpower added in, or equipment, or anything. You're getting it for just the cost. He's donating it. So be thankful. And their closest one was 40,000.
Get us the information, you should get a letter.
And let's see where all goes first, but yes. Even.
So in this particular case here, I'm just playing around with the first year in terms of estimated costs. I should put in future years, but the future years I'm showing down below here. I know after reviewing all the vehicles and how long it would take for the road department, and if you wound up going this route over the next, what we're talking about, 5 years, this year and the next 5, that you can see by the year 2022, we're way down on what we need. But finally, you'd be catching up and putting them in very good. You get them into, I think, in excellent shape. The road program, if you do 150 a year, from what I know. So in the year, if you follow this from what I have, we'd need 375 for the year 2018, 430 for the year 2019, 430 again 2020, 415 2021. In the year 2022, 200,000. Keep that in mind. And then in this particular year, if you go back up, debt authorized would be 654,000. Debt authorized. Flip over to the next page. So what is a debt plan? The debt plan takes a look at your debts that you already have and the maturity of it, when it's coming due, lay it out to final maturity. So the left-hand column, all it's showing is the current debt service that we have, just current fund, the general capital debt, which relates to your general operating fund. One of the things that you do have, and I'll highlight, yes, we have debt service coming due this year, 575,080, but we also have money coming in from open space. It's 2017, it's 556,000 coming due. We have 56,000 comes from open space, 200 for principal, 56,000 goes against interest. In this particular year, we have a little bit more in debt service because we're paying off notes from a reserve for debt service that's sitting in our general capital fund. What happened last year, we authorized debt, we went out and borrowed money on it. And in between, after we borrowed the money, the DOT money came in. Money came from, part of it was the Phillipsburg intersection by the school. So we did get money from the Board of Ed, we got money from the town, we got the DOT money. So that money has to be put aside so that when that note came due, I had to pay it down. So that's why there's an anticipated revenue of $300 and something thousand, as well as the note payoff. I already did it already. It got paid this month, by the way. And it was in the temporary budget. I had it in there. So that particular transaction has already taken place. So that's part of our overall debt number that we're paying out, 680. But you'll notice we didn't go up because we had that offset from the reserve for the debt service to help us pay for it. I have a revenue in current to help us pay it. So actually our debt service number went down 8,125 compared to a year ago. So along the way, in 2017, we had outstanding notes. You know, we had that first column all the way to the left, 556, 758, 13. At the beginning of the year, we had 2,908,695 in outstanding notes. My projection, what I provided you here is 654. I said, again, this is a plan. That's all I was doing, just to play with it a little bit. I put 750 in. If we had a few more projects to bring that 650 in that debt up to 750. We don't at this point. That's why I did a second debt plan. But with 750, with the notes we paid off, the hands that we paid off, which is part of our budget process, the interest projected on the particular notes that were outstanding, $47,223, I'm using 2.25% as an interest rate. That's probably low for now. We sold for 2.25 the last sale. Things have gone up a little bit. I don't think they're going to go crazy, but it might go up a little bit more than 2.25. So if it goes up to 3%, what does it do to this? Not a whole heck of a lot. I could flip that in there again. I wish I had a laptop here and I could tell you. But in this case, I use 2.25. And as I told you before, every time I think the interest rates are going up, there's already some coming back. They had talked about having 4 more increases this year, and something's come back. They don't like some of the numbers already. So maybe there won't be 4. And the federal government is not.
When it increases, what is it, 0.25% between the increase?
It sounds like, 25 basically, 25 basis points seems. But I don't, and again, some of these increases doesn't always mean your debt for municipal is going to go up that much. Doesn't always reflect on municipal debt. So, again, if I could project what was going to happen in the future, I wouldn't be here. Okay. What it does with all this, some of the columns are keeping track of where are we situated as far as outstanding notes and where we're going to be. What I'm trying to get at is what is the net debt cost to us each year by year if you start to increase your debt load. And if the first year we went 750, then I said after that 600,000 a year. What you're seeing here increases to the first 3 years actually goes down. 4th year goes up 25,000. There's a big jump in the 5th year to 104 increase in your debt service. Then modestly after that, it's not too bad. But what you're doing, when you get down to that 2030, you're actually paying off more debt than you're incurring. So if you follow that flow and that rationale, it goes away over time. And you're getting things done.
Right.
I mean, you can't, it's like pay me now or pay me later. You have a home. Try to run a town like my own household, and that it has certain things you have to do each year. You have to have this fixed asset. You have your home. We have not only the home, but we have a lot of infrastructure that we have to handle and take care of. If you let it go, it's like road resurfacing. Reconstruction work is a lot more costly than resurfacing. If you can keep up to resurfacing, if you use, crack sealing, you use a lot of different methods to try to prolong the road. But again, the material that you get today is not like the material you got on roads 10 years ago. It's not the same. They're not holding up as much. Right. So that adds into the equation too. It might sound like it's cheaper. Oil prices have gone up, and then dropped down.
They're cheaper, but they give you less of it. That's quality.
And it's quality. So it doesn't last as long.
Right.
There's always an angle. There's an angle on everything. So what I wanted to show you is if you went to these levels, what would it cost you? What would it do to your tax rate? That's all I'm trying to demonstrate to you. So that's why, so I looked at it from that angle, and just today I said, let me go back and let's reflect what we really have in this particular instance. I would kind of hand you the second version. A little less aggressive on issuance of debt. Yeah, just a little bit.
And the year that you usually do.
Sandy Mountain.
Each year.
The only thing I changed on the first sheet is shaving off a little bit. I shaved off $40-something $100 off the road work, road improvements. So end up to $43.36 to bring it down to $650. Taking that, it didn't change any of the future year stuff below. That's the only thing I shaved down so that it fit into the new number instead of $750, $650. And then I played around, again, it's one thing with a worksheet, you can always play around with it, just, same interest rates that I used before. But I did not go to the hilt on a debt on the lower years. Because if you looked at what I did on the first one, once I got halfway down, and once I got into like 2023, I really started jumping up your debt authorizations. I'm keeping it more level. Instead of like the final year being at 725, I'm at 650. I want like 650s instead of and I kind of reduced the principal payments too. To try to, again, what this does show you, we can, I don't want to say plan, we can plan where we go and keep our budget increases to a respectable level. What I haven't, and I'm hoping that we start to turn around where we actually have some growth here, that valuation growth.
Right.
That would help counter some of this.
Yeah, we do anticipate that we will have greater rate.
But again, I did in this, there's no...
This doesn't count that, so any of that's gravy. Right?
That would be gravy to help
And
reduce
you
this
can
overall.
reduce that or use it for other projects, yes.
Or
That's what we
reduces
want.
the net increase.
Ernie, I wish I could say I followed this whole thing and I don't yet. I mean, if you look at these columns on the second page, we got existing and authorized and so on, and then the total capital acquisitions authorized in the current year. Is that last column, is that the capital spending in the
current budget
current year? So we would look to spend, well, forget about the first year, somewhere in the $600,000 to $700,000 range.
Correct.
So if we needed police cars one year,
Vehicles, yes. Police
whatever,
cars, no.
it's undefined, but it would be in that.
Mhm.
So
That's
we'd have to
correct.
work within that capital budget.
Correct.
Right.
But you can see the only things I had planned were I put in roads and I know your road equipment, what you have, that's fairly solid, and try to do a little at a time. But at the end of that particular 5-6 year period, he's got, and what I would like to start seeing is reduction in what we're paying out in his other expense account, which is within cap. I mean, last year, I'm thinking $60,000 to $70,000 was spent on vehicle repairs, or 68,000.
68,000.
Just on your vehicles.
Just his.
What about the police vehicles?
Police vehicles, I don't have an exact number on it,
Right.
but his vehicles are the worst.
Well,
They've been replaced.
I think it
Probably in that neighborhood of like 18,000 or so.
Mhm.
So his is 3 times, 4 times.
Yeah, it's,
Turn his over.
What concerns me too, we came in and we got last storm, the big storm, 6 vehicles out there, 3 went down on us. You can't deal with a storm and have 3 vehicles down. I don't know, do you have any reserves? I never asked you. You don't have reserve vehicles? Nope. Okay. Don't leave it at that.
right.
But considering they still did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, they did. I give them a lot of credit.
Now, with Bernie, I think, make sure the council understands that this is a plan, but if we have an unusual acquisition that is necessary, this gets adjusted. And we just figure out how we're going to adjust it. But at least this way, we always know pretty much where we're going.
if you go
It's not
and
a
use this
blind
guideline, like I said before, in year 2018, I've got 600,000 plugged in for new net debt out there. I've only got us spending in 2018 $375. So there is room for other things in 2018, or that $600,000 number goes down.
Right, right. That's right.
It's just a plan to, to try
If
to,
you don't need it, you can pay down more debt. It's just,
or you just don't issue the debt,
right.
and then there's that much less debt to pay down on the bottom. Again, when I'm trying to get overcome, you can almost get to pay as you go. What it does is also, listen, and Joe, I think I said this before, we're well under our debt limit. We have a debt limit here, what is it, what percent, is it 2.5%, 3.5%?
3.5.
3.5%. We're not even, I think we're at 0.5%.
I think we're higher than that, but I think we're
Between
somewhere
5 and 6.
around,
0.6 or 0.5, we're at 0.55, I think, this year. So, I mean, I'm not a big advocate for going out and issuing a lot of debt. I'd like to see, I don't mean to go, I'd like to pay as you go as you can, because
You try to get there, but you need to have
that
a
doesn't,
plan.
I'm not always right on that. I'm not the author of pay as you go versus issuing debt. But don't ignore it. You got things to do. You have things
What's
to
the
do.
average debt for a township?
Oh,
So it varies.
Varies, yeah.
it's gonna vary. It depends on who.
We're way below.
what I go by is not Standard & Poor's who gave us this last rating, but we got downgraded a couple of years ago. And the report was not worried about the debt so much as
We
the
don't have enough
reduction
debt.
of surplus.
We don't have enough debt.
They didn't say we don't have enough. The
Sure.
debt wasn't a problem.
No.
But the problem was the gradual reduction of surplus. That's what they didn't like.
That and reserves. They don't only want to see surplus and current, but they want to see reserves throughout your different funds and the capital fund.
Mhm, mhm.
And, so there's.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, again, eventually you'll have somebody when I leave, somebody hopefully be in the position, be here for a period of time and try to guide you and get you to where you want to be. I can only suggest
We want a
you try to
document
get you.
that we know what's happening. We want our direction. If we're going to change direction, got to adjust this document.
Correct.
And then we can't go too far off.
No. It's a guide.
It's a guide. It's adjustable and will change over the future, but that's how you do it. Thank you for that.
I don't have anything else to add at this point. I don't know, John, I don't know if you want to.
Well, I can give you live numbers if you want to let me know. Are we taking the 50,000 in on, are we increasing the capital improvement fund by 50,000? Was that something you were going to decide tonight, or is that something?
I'd like to put that in.
I haven't.
What would it do?
I'm going to back up to that a little bit. There was one other thing. We have a contract with LAA this year, and it's not signed yet. They're supposed to get money for doing fields and so on. We prorate it because
We're going to give them money to do this
it's
deal?
part of the contract. Yeah, they line the fields. They do certain services that Public Works used to do, and in return we give them money.
Is that why the other night that he had to go over there and they left him there and he had to do it till 7 o'clock at night?
Oh, I don't know. Did you have to do it? Wim was the only guy all
I
day.
didn't put it for pay.
It's the first time around, and there's some rough edges here. But that contract
I'm
should be
just going to
signed.
tell you can't have it both ways. If he has to stay, he should get paid. And if he gets paid, I can't give him the money. It's got to, you know what? I've been involved.
I don't want to get into it. There were a lot of, they delivered a line thing. It was empty. It was the first time through. There were problems, and they gotta get sorted out. But that contract is in front of us. And when I say prorated, it was supposed to be 10,000 for a year. If it's 3/4 of a year, it's 7,500 or whatever. But we're going to have to make some payment to the LAA, and it just hit me. Is that in there?
I don't have that in.
You don't have
I
that
didn't
in.
know that. The other thing is, am I gonna have trouble paying that out?
We don't know about it because.
If they provide a service, then you're not gonna have a problem.
They're gonna have to give us a
No,
document.
it's a given, it's in the contract, they provide a service, they get paid, they don't provide a service, they don't get paid. The first time through, there were problems, they gotta be sorted out the first time through. But, when that contract's signed, we have an obligation to make a payment to them, 10,000, well, if it was 10,000 for this year, it'd be prorated because it's a year.
Well, the trouble is, there's some of their sports, I mean, how many sports does it cover?
It covers football and baseball and soccer, and how many soccer fields we got? We got, what, at least 4 baseball
Seven
fields?
soccer fields, you got to pay them spring and fall.
Yeah.
All right, it's continuous every week. Baseball is usually you get about 3 weeks to get paid, and there's 9 fields of them. And then you have a main football field, and you have 4 practice football fields.
Now, we used to do that, they're gonna do it, but the first time around, and Brian, I appreciate he donated some time, he had to get them started. But I mean, they're just the problems you go through at startup, the trailer, getting it over there, getting it back, and all that, nobody had, it really hadn't all been sorted out.
There's one thing that, don't get me wrong, I have in his budget, I had money in there for seasonal employee.
No, that's different. It's different.
No, but I had money in there that, from what I gather, since we hired 2 employees last year, we weren't gonna need the seasonal for the summertime type of thing. We do need seasonal for the snow.
Correct, that's why it's there.
That's, but there's no way we paid what I have here for the snow.
Not this year.
Well,
Right.
even last year, I don't know.
Yeah, well, these are the 2 easy years, so I would say we're not gonna need it. I don't remember what's there, Bernie, but, you got, November, December, right, month and a half, and it gets snow.
And how much you have in there, Brian, for that?
I have,
That's one thing I want to say.
12,845.
Well, that should cover it, I think, as long as we know it's there.
But I have it in salary wage. If I needed to pay
It should say LAA contract and have a line at the top.
Bernie, that won't make money. I'm telling you now, that won't make it, because, how much did he spend already? Because it was 10 storms that went out. I already figured that out. Okay? Now, the snowstorm was a big one, but the other ones were small, 3 hours back probably. Okay? Which isn't a lot, $60. All right? But if you go out 60, you know what I mean? And if you put $20 in for the last storm that we were there. All right? So he's pushing. If you're only going to leave me $1,200, I don't know what's going to happen in December. You might have boom.
Well, how much? I guess what I need, so you need to tell me how much you need.
I never figured that out, but I don't know. I have to sit down.
But I'll do anything you want. You want to put 10,000 into
Let's
parks
put
and
7,500.
playgrounds only?
Let's put 7,500, put an LAA payment for this year.
Just look at Joe. I know it sounds like we could do 3/4 of the year. The first quarter, there's no activity. There's no fields to strike. There's no soccer fields. They're going to want that 7,500. They're going to want the 10,000 for the rest of the year, I bet you. Because that's when they're doing the work.
All right, yeah, that'll be 10 grand. It's not really talking. It's task oriented. It's just do this, do this, do this.
I don't want to nickel and dime them either,
So let's put 10 grand in there.
but if you can negotiate with them, then that's fine. But I want to have enough in here so that I'll do whatever you want. I'll put the 75.
Put 10 grand in.
Okay. I'm going to add that to the parks and playgrounds OE.
And here's my thought on the whole Megillah. I really don't want to go over 2 cents, personally.
Okay.
That's what they used to, so make all the adjustments in the operating, figure out what 2 cents is, and that leaves us,
Ready?
yeah.
Yeah.
1.9 cents, with all the changes that you suggested tonight.
Under 2 cents.
1.9 cents.
And that's what we decided in.
That's with the 50,000 added in for capital, the 10,000
Well,
added in for recreation.
I'm speaking for myself, that's been historical. That's a goal we talked about.
No, I concur.
So what percentage is that?
Over last year, I don't have it broken out by percentage, but I will give you, I'll get it for you. About 3.7%.
3.7%.
You're looking at a $45 a year increase. $45 for the year, or $3.75 a month.
$231,000 house.
On a $231,000 house.
$45 increase.
Right,
Yep.
for the municipal.
Bert, can I ask you what that means for
That's not bad, right?
for the season?
What was it last year?
I'm leaving it alone
The amount.
at this point.
Yeah, it's a 3.7% increase from last year's tax rate.
The dollar amount
The dollar amount last year.
on the $231,000 house?
Yeah, last year.
1208, yeah. 1,208.
And this year it would go up by,
No, you said it would be $45,
Right.
right?
So a $45 increase would bring it
This year,
to
based on the numbers.
1,253.
Okay, so let's go with what was the dollar amount last year we increased? Was it the same about
54.
$55?
it was 54, no.
You increased last year $75. It was a 3-cent increase on the nose last year. It was a $75 increase for the year, or $6.28.
So we've improved over last year, and we have a healthier
Yeah, so we
plan.
improved. So we dropped it down by $30.
We also
last year.
have another penny in the current for sewer stuff.
Yes.
So your real net is not even a penny.
So
But you've got to,
Do better than last
address the
But you're gonna go up
surplus.
2% because you wanna address your surplus, right?
Well, we'd like to. I mean, I'm putting the 50,000 into the.
I don't know, $45 is a round number. I'd like to start there, personally. We were at 30, now we're at 45. It's a wisp under 2 cents. I don't think anybody can get excited about that. And we got a stronger plan going forward.
Yeah, well,
That means that.
125 overall tax.
That's what the money to capital.
Right, John?
50,000 more. That's 100,000.
$125 for
I'm sorry, one more time.
the total tax increase would be then 125 if the other numbers hold.
Correct. 120, yep, 124.
So,
And again, those numbers are estimated, other than
Yes,
the
they
open
are.
space.
so that's $10 a month.
$10.36 a month. You got it.
I think it's good the way it's.
So that covers all, right, you just said? Covers the county, school,
125,
125.
if those two numbers hold.
Yeah, and of course, we have no control over
Can't
those.
control.
We don't.
I can see the school absolutely being at 2% increase, and that's factored in. I can't see that coming in less than 2.
I heard the county was staying flat, is that true?
County stays flat, but
It doesn't mean.
it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be flat, because that's based on equalized value.
Right.
You're based on assessed value. So if your equalized value and the chart goes higher than your neighbor does in one particular year, you can see an increase in your county tax, and they can see a decrease. So you all have to put money into the same pot of money,
Right.
but as your value goes higher and somebody else's goes lower, you take on a bigger portion of the pie.
Right.
So that's why we project 2% is conservative.
So 120 based on 231,000.
Yep.
So what's our total budget as a whole?
Local?
Which budget?
Everything that we're gonna do here, everything we're gonna pay, everything we're gonna do, how much money we need.
Well, it depends on what you mean by that. You don't mean capital is segregated,
Yeah,
just operating,
You don't have it as a whole.
it never comes out that way.
yeah.
Just your operating will be what,
What you have control over inside your cap is what the state focuses on. You're looking at almost 5.9 million. Your total budget, which will include your capital, your grants, which is, it's hard to, it's a little over 8 million this year.
The local?
That's your budget. Yep.
Right, the
Town's
local.
budget, that's it.
8 million.
8 million.
So you need to bring in.
But again, you had money, $300 and something thousand you're paying down in debt for money that you collected last year. So that shows up as a revenue and an expense. So it's not like your budget went up $395,000 just because.
We were
You know,
talking
you're
about
offsetting
that
it with
last
a
month,
payment.
actually. I mean, if you look at the expenses on a percentage, sounds high, but then the
Right.
revenues.
The offset, correct. And if you got more money for that this year, then that puts aside, I don't know if there's any more grant money coming in for that project that, you can put towards next year, towards another payment on that.
That, we're trying to filter that out now.
Okay,
29.
everyone has had their say, everyone is in agreement basically with what we,
Yes, I'd like to thank Bernie for his effort, like of course, John.
thank you.
The mayor and I got through it.
Bernie, do you have the OB for the police department with you? I just had one line item that I'd like to ask for uniforms. I don't recall what we appropriated for that. So I do have a master quote for the uniforms I had drawn up for last year.
But I have each individual persons that, you know, that,
And I'm specifically talking about new hires.
Okay.
For that.
clothing.
I think it was originally,
Training 7,000.
I can tell you the account.
Yeah, so give me an account. Yeah. I have an account called clothing, damaged uniforms, new hires.
Yep, that's the account that the,
4,000.
Yeah, the quote that I have is, 2841 per officer. That includes, the vest.
It's 57, talking about $5,700, you're short 1,700.
So I think there's grant monies for a vest.
We had money for one vest, I think, not quite two, $1,600 something.
I believe you're right, that's pretty accurate, yeah.
1,642. I have it here, hold on. 1,622.78, body armor grant.
So does that net down? That'll net you down?
That goes a little bit, yeah, because that, about $1,000 per vest. That's what we're
Yes,
looking at.
950, yes, it's that. But if you use that plus what we have, the 4,000, it almost comes up to the 50.
So we're gonna be okay there?
It should be with that money.
I just wanted to make sure I'm taking across the,
Okay.
All right. You guys work it out?
Yep.
I have one more thing.
Yeah, fine.
We were talking about before, about going for possible grants or whatever for generators. We're spending an awful lot of money to keep this thing running down there. Like,
I have an answer.
so that,
Paul said that he was at a seminar this week, and he spoke to a representative of the USDA, and they said they would allow us the money to buy a generator out of that grant money. So Paul was we were going to double check that whole thing and see if we could do that, because I think there was some money left over.
if we can push for two, if the DPW would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Tim,
Let's see what we got left after we get done with the project.
can we, the only problem that you have with that is the grant right now is in sewer. The generator is not really a sewer item, it's more of a general operating or current general capital type thing. Can we split the grant to two different, I haven't recorded it any place.
I don't know.
I have to
That's
do
just
that.
a question we'd have to ask this woman that he spoke to specifically.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I
she
think it
alluded to
depends
the
how you
fact
count
that he
it.
could, so. Who knows?
I mean, if we could, that would be great.
We could bring that into federal and state grant fund then.
What's that?
If we could bring it into federal and state grant fund, and they'll allow it, then you could bring it into federal and state grant fund, and they'll allow it, then you could use it for different items.
It's true.
But you have to find out if they'll allow you to do that.
You know, I mean, there's two questions here. There's, will USDA let you do it? And the tentative answer is yes. And then the second one's not a problem at all. We just got to figure out a way to bring it over. And if we call it, waste utility administration,
Well, I don't want to
we can do it. It's, you got an office, you got to stay open, so.
Any idea how
Some discussion you have with me not in the room.
That's all?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, for electric, so, 75, huh?
What's wrong with this one?
It's like long back in World War II,
1942 it is.
and when it was moved here, Victor had to retrofit it, and now you can't get parts for it anymore.
It doesn't keep the police running half of their place.
Well, what do you get, 20 years?
They shut these guys down every time it comes the last power outage.
Didn't work?
There's a lot of resetting to be done. Half the building is dark.
It's up to, nothing up here.
I know we're throwing a lot of money around here, but that's what it's not.
You don't really have to do the whole building, right? Just emergency. You gotta do the crucial points.
So you should keep at least keep the offices or if that's started, that's burning.
I need money.
I think the idea is you get the heat running and then there's enough power for people to come in, charge cell phones, come in and get warm. You have a full-blown problem.
You need to keep our computer have problems.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta keep the phones up and running.
You need to keep the computers up.
Yeah.
Any emergency, I have to be able to cut checks.
Yes.
I'm just telling you, that's part of the protocol.
You don't have one of those anymore?
It doesn't work that way anymore.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you all. Thank you, Bernie.
We should adjourn, right?
Yes. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Good show.